cost me more. If I can't have enough employees over here, now I'm going to take over something that's going to require me 400 more employees. Now listen to this. When we took over Holdenville, y'all think about this. When we took over Holdenville, about that time we had what we reported, what DOC reported, if you want to go by their numbers, who knows. But they were reporting that it took 1,700 correctional officers, roughly 1,700, okay? So it takes 1,700. Now that's before we buy Holdenville. Now we purchase Holdenville. Holdenville has 1,700, roughly 1,700 inmates. Now, if you go back and look, that should require at least 200 correctional officers, I would say. I believe I'm right. In fact, I think I'm a little low on that, but that's what it should require. So here we are at 1,700. We purchased a prison that should require 200. Shouldn't that go up to 1,900 now? Guess what it did? Went down to 1,500. How do you purchase one that has 200, but you drop down 1,500? Okay? You see what I'm saying? They actually dropped 400 employees. They got 200. Say, you know what I mean? So here's 17, here's 2. That's 19. They dropped 15. That's doing away with 400 employees. And now they say, well, we're 80% retention rate. Well, you're 80% of the 50% you lost. You're 80% of 50%. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but that's where you are. That's where you are. So when you're looking at, are we 50% short? I think we're maybe more than that when you look at your 80% of the 50%. If you start doing that's what we call DOC fuzzy math. It takes some time to learn it. I know I sound confusing, but that's because I'm doing DOC crazy math, okay? And that's what this is. You got to understand, we're 80% of dropping 400 employees. Now, you're going to pick up 400 employees on this. Now, guess what? I wouldn't doubt that you lose 100, possibly 200. If you lose 50% over there, guess what? You're going to need a real push on getting 200 officers. Now, we've done the on loan stuff. We're about skeleton. I don't know that we can do any more on loan. I don't know that we can take and fill in 200 empty slots, okay? And you already got a powder keg. You remove the thing that probably is holding it down quite a bit, which would be Ferris. Remove him, take off 200, and guess what? That's a recipe for a disaster, okay? That's a recipe for a train wreck. Some of the other things that I think are interesting that we might want to talk about and think about. If you ever bought a car, think about it. You buy a car, I laugh. I've got an inmate friend that got out doing awesome. She's a super, super person. Did all that hair cosmetology training. Now the governor's trying to do away with that. Anyways, did the cosmetology, got out and started practicing her cosmetology, making pretty decent money, had a place of her own. Had never owned a car. She'd went to penitentiary, been in there quite a while, doing great, never owned a car, was so proud to buy a car, and I was proud for her. Boy, this girl had earned it. And she went out and bought a really nice car, and then it turns out she had no idea that they had excise tax and tax. And for this car, it was going to be, I think, $1,400. And she was just devastated that I can't even drive my car because I can't get a tag and I can't pay the tax. So she had to wait. I think it took her 2 or 3 months to get the money, and then she got penalized. But took her 2 or 3 months to get the money to do that. Okay. Reason I tell that story is because when you buy a car, guess what? You got insurance, you got tags, you got taxes, you got all the things that go with it. You got maintenance, you got all kinds of stuff that come with it. So when you go down there and buy this prison, Are we going to have to switch the electric? Because that's going to be a pretty big deal. Electric for a prison ain't no little minor thing. We got to switch out that. Have we got a plan for doing that? How about switching the water? How about all the other utilities that you have to have? What about how's their trash? Do we have somebody coming in and getting that trash? I mean, what has anybody looked at? Because I've seen not a plan. I mean, I'm sitting up there at corrections, or sitting up there at the Capitol, and I try to keep a pretty good handle on what's going on with you guys, and try to be reasonable and look at this kind of stuff. You know what I've seen? Zero. They've hid everything, because that's what he's good at. I've compared him to a cat covering up crap in the litter box. That's who he is. That's exactly what he reminds me of. I mean, he goes around covering it up because that's all that he's been able to do is just, crap here, cover it up, crap here, cover it up. I mean, that's what he does. That's who he is, And so, Director, I'm serious when I say that. I mean, tell me all the disasters. I could start naming them all. We could be here all day if I started talking about all the problems that you had and all the crap that you covered up. And so again, how are we going to transition to this when we're broke? Because it's just like buying a car. You're going to have expenses. You're going to have costs. And have we prepared for that cost? Now we're broke. I don't know. When you're asking for $312 million, my understanding that was the cost. That's boom. So I would have thought you'd have been in and asking for 320, 325 to sure up some of the cost you're going to have with this. What about maintenance stuff? What about supply stuff? Are they going to take all the supplies, or does all the supplies come with that? How about the desk? Are those theirs? Are those yours? I mean, there's so many questions that we have that are unanswered. What kind of plan? Because I've seen his plan. I've seen him walk into Hinton. You think, no way, nobody would do this. Nobody in their right mind would bring in prisoners and not have a kitchen set in and be ready to go. No, they'd do it. He'd do it. Nobody in their right mind would purchase a place that don't have electricity, that they've turned, they've sealed up the boxes, and now you have to have construction people come back in and put in all this stuff. Nobody in their right mind would bring in prisoners before you got the construction, because having these construction people in with these prisoners, hey, nobody in their right mind would do this stuff. Telephones don't work. Nobody in their right mind would open a prison where communications don't work. Nobody in their right mind. You get what I'm saying, Director? Nobody in their right mind. Okay? So again, when I'm saying, what about the desk? What about the water? What about the electric? What about, is there any maintenance needed done? How about the food? Are you ready to transition? Do you have somebody ready to go on that? Have you made sure that you got somebody? Because I ain't seen you make a good plan yet. I have not seen you execute not one. I mean, if you could tell me, please, Director, write me 4 or 5 things that you've done correctly, because I have not seen one. And again, I have answers. So I do have solutions. I'm not telling you, Director, because you would mess them up. But guys, I have a solution on our employment problem. I've already talked to a company on how to fix all that. I think we could fix it. I think we could get people recruited. I think we could get people recruited with experience. I'm not going to say my plan would work. I mean, it talks cheap, but I have a plan. I have a plan how you can fix a lot of your problems, not just here in corrections, but community. You start with including the whole correctional, because guess what? We don't talk about probation pro too much on here. I want to tell you, probation pro officers, I think about you. The other day when I started Elephant in the Room, I announced that one of our probation pro officers, I think that was on the 12th. I'd have to go back and look, the day that Jeff had gotten killed. One of our probation officers up around Shawnee I think it's more in Oklahoma County, but he was a Shawnee person. And anyways, I just shout out to him because he had been killed, and I wanted to recognize that, and not forget him, not forget that our probation officers often are unheard of and people don't talk about them. But again, this director he's trying to sabotage, he's trying to demolish, he's trying to do away with probation. He's trying to do away with probation officers. He's got a plan. He's going to make them case managers, glorified, what I'm saying, not officers. It aggravates me because I'm passionate about that. I've been there. That's where I come from. I worked in the prison, and I love DOC because I was part of DOC. But the majority of time that I spent was at Probation Pro, and it could be an awesome, great job. We could be some of the top in the state, most beneficial to our state. And instead, guess what? They bastardize that. They're anti-law people. They say one thing, they do right the opposite. They say how they're going to help inmates. They're a disaster. They're the worst things that ever happened. Inmates are raped. Inmates are extorted. Inmates are killed. Guess what? They don't start any program. They're doing nothing for inmates. And again, they're elevating inmates over officers. Wrong in my opinion. But again, they ain't worried about the safety. They fire people. Guess what? So they talk about how they're going to do this for you and how you're going to become this and how we're going to do this, change life. That's all a bunch of load of bullshit. I mean, you talk about nothing. They write the opposites. They write the opposite. If they say something, just look the opposite way because that's what's going to happen. And so again, Probation Pro, they have been disastrous for Probation Pro. I have plans. I've got a plan not only for Probation Pro, also for probation, community supervision, how to connect everybody, how to pay for it, the whole 9 yards, how to recruit people, how to get more people in, how to build, facilities that take care of mental health issues and all kinds of stuff. Again, nobody wants to hear that because guess what that means? That means taking away when you're the governor. Hey, we don't want to listen to that because him, a good friend right over here, might lose his job and he couldn't waste $500 million. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't pay himself $275 like and jet all over the United States acting like he's somebody when he's a disaster. That's what you get into. Same thing if you're looking at mental health right now. He fired the forestry director over a natural disaster out of his hands. Natural disaster. He didn't like how he responded to that fire, even though he deployed his equipment before the fire, just watching the weather, deployed equipment, did everything, in my opinion, right. I was on fire department 20 years. I've been around that stuff a little. I would say he was right. I would like to know how much, the governor did. But here's the deal. Look at Harp, man. If you're going to say, where's my money? What's happened? Lord, Harp should have been fired 10 times over. Mental health, missing 90-something million, I think. Guess what? Can't make payroll, 20-something. DHS, 100 million gone. And none of these people, it's just no big deal, no big deal, no big deal. I'm devastated. I'm floored at what I see. Unbelievable. But guys, watch Lawton. Let's see what happens in Lawton. Because I'm going to tell you something, that has the potential. That's a powder keg. And what happens there and who they leave and what goes on there could be a real huge issue. And it'll be a huge issue to the entire penitentiary because you're going to have to put on loans and go out there and work and stay out there like we've seen done. And guys, when I'm getting called, all over. I'm getting calls from OSP. People are upset about them opening the yard. People are upset saying they're going to leave. That'll be interesting. See if we lose more people there. If you're Dick Connors, director. Why is it every year, every time you turn around, you got a water issue up there? Can you not help the city get that? You had a chance at ARPA money. Where were you in ARPA? If you're good friends with the governor, as close as it seems, why couldn't you got some ARPA money to help that community take care of that water issue? But every time we turn around, I hear they got another water issue up there again. Every time you turn around, and it ain't just there. OSR, I think, Lexington always having water problems, and that brings me to another thing on Lawton. You know, it's 27 years old. We're probably going to have some maintenance. Now, I could have turned you in, Director. I could get you right now on fraud, and that wouldn't get you, and that's why I ain't turned it in, because it would get the people you have working for you, because what you're doing is you're making those electricians, you're making those plumbers, you're making your other maintenance people who are required to observe the actual work, and they're not observing it, and you're giving them 20 work orders to sign saying that they actually observed it when you know dang good and well they didn't. And guess what? That's fraud. You could be arrested for. They have cases made on what I'm talking about. It is illegal. If you're doing that, just tell them, I know y'all wouldn't want me to commit fraud. I can't do that, you know? And that's because if you sign it, you think they're going to go, oh, no, he knew what he. No, they're just going to go, hey, we didn't ask him to lie on that. He signed that all by himself. You think they're going to go to jail for you? You think they're going to take a felony? No, they ain't going to take no felony for you. They're going to use you for your license, and they're going to put you at jeopardy of losing your license and being charged with the felony and going to jail and getting all kinds of fines. You think they care? No, they don't care. They wouldn't put you in that place. But that's what's going on. Listen, that's not what I think is going on. That's what I know is going on. I had a friend that was doing it, and he asked me not to turn it in because he had cancer, and they were letting him do that, and it was helping him out. I kept my mouth shut. Maybe that's wrong, but I really liked that guy, and he was really in a bind, and that's what was going on. I just said, okay, I know it's continued to go on. I've checked it. I've watched it. It's continuing to go on. But again, who do you turn it over to? Think I could write a letter to the governor? He'd ignore it. Think you'd write a letter to Harp? Psst. You know what I'm saying? Harp lets people be raped. Harp lets people sit in 2x2 showers and have human rights violated. Harp allows extortion to go on, murders to go on. You think he's going to get concerned about somebody signed a fraudulent form? He don't care. As long as it don't come back on him, he's going to be like, oh, I never knew. Just like these shower deals, he's sitting up there right now and got off of that because they're saying, well, it wasn't up on his level. He didn't know. That's a lie. And I'm going to be able to walk in there and prove that. And Harp, you think that you're out of the civil, and you are out of the civil. Cool. That's fine. But guess what? When all the civil happens and we start laying out what I handed you, what I emailed you, all the stuff that I've done, guess what? You're going to have a hard time claiming you didn't know when it got ordered up on your level of investigation. And what do you want to bet? You answered a bunch of stuff. You went in the media. How you going to claim you didn't know when you were going out in the media and saying I was an idiot and a liar? Surely you knew something. If I'm an idiot and a liar, you're going to have to be able to prove, because obviously you said it. So apparently you knew something. So how did you come to the conclusion that I was an idiot and a liar? And I'm going to try to make sure that you get a chance to answer all that, because I'm pretty interested how you knew all that. And again, that's going to be where you personally are going to be liable. And again, I hope that it's criminal liable, because that's what you've allowed to do. You have covered everything up. You have known about this stuff. And instead of coming in and trying to protect people, instead of coming in and trying to make this a better place, you have given yourselves raises. You have fired good people. You have brought people over who know nothing. You have given your little cronies and your little friends and all this stuff, and give them massive, put people in for medical that has no medical, fired good doctors, bring in somebody, no experience, fire a good communications person, bring in somebody, no experience, and all these people, your cronies. And we could go on all day long how you've done that and give them astronomical fees. You have used the Department of Corrections to further your friends and you, while at the cost of people's lives, at the cost of people being raped, extorted, people being ran off, people losing their jobs. You have cost the department. You are not a good person. You are an evil person, it seems like to me. And so again, I can't tell you how much that I want to go to court and prove the things that I'm saying, because I have the documents to prove it, and I have no problem taking a witness stand. I crave to get on a witness stand. I crave to have your lawyers cross-examine me. I can't tell you how much I want that, because guess what? I have documented and documented and documented what I'm saying. And everybody up there knows I'm not lying. And if I am wrong, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm always perfect and that I get everything right. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first person to admit it. But you know what I've done on all your stuff? I have double dogged. And if Bobby Cleveland was here today, he would tell you, he's oftentimes said, JJ, let's go on this. Let's put this out. And I'll go, hold on. We got to verify. We have to have it documented. Sometimes we've known stuff, but we can't prove it. And so again, we've had to verify, we've had to prove it, and we have proven, and we know what we're saying. When we're saying that you knew there was rapes going on and you covered it up, I believe I have more than ample evidence to show that. When I say that you knew about these showers and you covered it up, I believe I have more than ample evidence to show that. I can show that you claim, that your department claimed that I could no longer have records because you have an agreement with the House. You made an agreement with the House to not allow me to have any more records because of the shower incident, because of the incident reports that I had on the shower incident. Well, how did you know I had those? How did you claim I can't have them? How do you claim I don't know nothing, but I'm going to tell JJ he can't have records because of this? And then you claim not to know anything about that. You see how what a tangled web we weave when yet we try to deceive. You know what I'm saying, Hart? Your web is closing in on you. And again, I hope that I'm around long enough to make sure that door gets shut on you. And I'm going to tell you something. You need to be gone. Again, anybody that would carry a gun in to a prison, anybody that would leave a gun in the back seat to let inmates clean it, anybody that shoot a gun and then fail to follow any policy of them being able to carry the gun, and then turn around and fail to follow any policy of what you do after you have an accidental discharge, and somebody who would lie about that and cover it up, and I know that's what you tried to do. Okay, again, anybody that would do that and then target his own employees for carrying knives or phone into the institution and then try to fire them, and not only try to fire them, but try to file criminal charges. I hope everybody out there understands when if you hear me, I hope everybody out there listening understands when I call him an evil person, when I call him a wrong person, when I talk this stuff, I want you to understand what I'm talking about. The kind of person that would do that, him do all of these things that I mentioned, and then target you, the employee, for this kind of trivial stuff, and go out of their way to try to get it. And again, if they want to suspend, if you want to write people up, if you want to give a day or two off, super. You're supposed to. There's a little deal called progressive discipline. And that's why y'all lose in court all the time. And by the way, we're winning those in court. Just so y'all know, we're winning. And again, if y'all want to check out the violence, we need to start. Y'all send that. It's almost impossible anymore to find out what's going on at y'all's facilities and when you get assaulted. So send them in to me or Bob. Send them in to OCP. Let us know, because guess what? They're trying to act like it's all covered up. There's nothing going on. We know that's a lie. We know that's an absolute lie. So y'all send that in. Guys, I just want to keep you informed. Watch this Lawton thing. I've got a lawsuit coming. I've told y'all that for the last couple of months. Took a little while to get it all put together. I wouldn't have come out saying it before. If I'd known it's going to take this long, I would have waited. I thought we'd already had it done in April. Here we are towards the end of May. Probably going to hopefully see if we can do that by next week. And again, I hope to expose all the things that I'm talking about. And guys, y'all just keep working. Y'all just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an awesome job. If people don't thank you enough, I want to thank you for everything that you employees of the Department of Corrections do. I just appreciate you so much. And again, if I can help you, you contact me. If you have problems, you contact me. I definitely, I'm passionate about DOC and about you, the employees. So let me know if I can help you anyway. We're going to jump off here. I know I was late getting in, and we went about 10 minutes over, so we should be at an hour mark. So I'm going to jump off here, but I just want to tell everybody, y'all have a happy Memorial Day. Y'all be with your family, and y'all be blessed.